My name is Sandra, and this channel is Threadhead Said. I'm a threadhead. I enjoy embroidery, counted cross stitch, sewing, quilting, anything with thread, except for maybe tatting or, I don't know, tatting. I haven't really done any of that. This channel is going to be about my application of thread to lots of different things. It's not just counted cross stitch, not just floss tube, not just quilting, because I combine them all. I had a channel previously called Sandra's Pins and Needles. I have a tendency to overcomplicate things, so I ended up shutting that down. My hope with this channel is to avoid the tendency to overcomplicate and just enjoy sharing my projects, learning, teaching, engaging, all of those things. So, like any good first video, I guess I should start with a whip parade, works in progress. And I know there's a sew-along going on called Strawberry Moon. So I am working on, I don't engage in any other social media, so you can find me nowhere on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Just only here on YouTube. This is my strawberry contribution. This is from Tiny Modernist, and it's a little mouse series. I've really gotten into doing these mice. There's the Easter one. I can see I'm gonna have to put a paper behind me. Okay, let me try that again. So there's the strawberry mouse. She has no head. She's not a threadhead. At least not yet. She will be a threadhead. There's some Easter mouse. We have 4th of July or Independence Day mouse. And then I have these, I've started putting them in little with little quilting borders, and I can't decide if I want to make them standalones, little standalone quilted cross stitch projects, or if I want to do them like in a banner. There's Halloween. This is some Tim Holt fabric. If you know and care, just, you know, he's a designer that has quite a bit different perspective. And this one I love, the little seashore mouse. So I really debated on making them standalone or a banner. They still have the schoolhouse one, the October one, which she's all spooky, and then a Christmas one that I want to stitch. In the set, there's also a shamrock kind of St. Patrick's Day themed one. I'm not really interested in that one, but I do want to stitch all of those. And then I'm thinking maybe do a spring summer banner and a fall winter banner or something. I don't know. If you want to give me some input, I wouldn't hate it. So those are works in progress and the collection. So these are FOs, fully finished, but they're not, or I mean, these are finished FOs, but they're not fully finished. All the language and acronyms of Floss tube. So there's that. So this is, when I talk about making that a standalone, this is kind of what I did with this was Spotted Pig Pin Keep. And I did not want to stitch the whole thing. I just wanted the mama pigs. And I put it on this, kind of trying to make it look a little muddish, but fun. And yeah, just a little standalone wall hanging. It's quilted around the edge. I didn't do a lot of stitching on the cross stitch in case I later changed my mind and wanted to go ahead and frame it. So basically, I started doing some quilted wall hangings with counted cross stitch because framing is so expensive. So another such project is the Tiny Town beach scene. This is all done except for I have to sew the beads on the crab's eyes. Let's see, there you go. And I made an error in my counting, so I ended up having to do a little fudging right there, which kind of turned out okay because I put those stitching on there that makes it look like the buoys that hang off of the houses when you go to the coast. So that's my Tiny Town, and I've just made it, again, a little soft wall hanging. I'll put a dowel rod in the back and hang it up, probably with some jute or something that looks kind of beachy. maybe. So there is a mostly finished. I have to do the beads on the crab's eyes. So another project, so just so you get the idea of something else I recently finished, was this Pacific Northwest sampler by Sambray Stitches. We have our good friend Bigfoot there. So I just love this, and I stitched it on white. Most of my stuff is 14 count Aida just because that's what my vision allows. Back in the day I used to stitch other stuff, but not anymore. So I finished this, loved stitching, it was very fun. And then I just put quilted fabric, quilted a border around it as if it were framed. Again, I didn't do a lot of stitching over the top because I imagine someday in the future I'll want to put this behind glass or something. But very fun. And that leads to another. So on this pattern, she has this really great eagle here. So I took the eagle and just stitched the eagle and put it in this quilted star. So this will be probably quilted wall hanging. I don't think I'll make this a pillow, but I could. I haven't really decided. But just put it inside a Ohio star or sawtooth star, whatever you want to call it. So that is a great example of how I mix my needlework projects, quilting, cross stitch, etc. So that's that. I think I counted, I don't know how many whips I counted. I counted and forgot. This is one, I used to get Cross Stitcher magazine. It's from the UK, got it electronically, and they each month would have an alphabet. And they did about a year ago, I don't know, coming up on a year, they had a pig alphabet. I'm into pigs, as you will learn. So I did this. I took the letters and just spelled out spring, which I love. I haven't, this I will frame. I don't want to put this in a wall hanging, I don't think. I want to frame and put some glass on it, but I don't know. Anyway, I had it sitting in the box for a year and I pulled it out this spring going, I'm going to enjoy it. Likewise, they had, in the fall, they had little spooky ghouls for their alphabet. And I started this one, which just, it's going to say welcome. This is a work in progress. You can see the little mummy and it's actually a bat. And I don't know what else. Oh, I think she's gonna be a mouse. So they're really cute little children dressed up in costumes. So that one, I haven't put any work in quite a while since I started it. So I put it down. Next whip, I don't know what count we're at. Next whip, this is, my doodad. This is, the snuggle is real. This was kind of Cross Stitch magazine, whatever, about a year ago, I think. I'll put up a picture with the pattern in it. But this is a sweet little kitten in a slipper. I had a cat. As a girl, I had a cat that looked very much like that, the gray and white striped. Her name was Tabitha, after the girl in Bewitched cartoon. Another project, next whip, is the state of Alaska. So Sue Hill does these patterns of states. I have the Missouri one that I did, I'm from Missouri, and then she has an Alaska one. Well, someone in Alaska took her pattern, this is what the basic one was, someone took her pattern and added a bunch of the icons of Alaska. So this is what I'll be stitching all of these. That's what this guy up in the corner is, my little Eskimo. I'll be going on a trip to Alaska over the summer, and so I enjoyed stitching on that. I have no timeline for any of these of getting them done. I used to put deadlines on myself and found I really stunk at that. So I don't, unless it's a gift, I don't put timelines on. Next whip is the Three Little Pigs. This was a kit that I saw in the Cross Stitcher magazine, so I ordered it from the UK. I am only going to stitch the pigs. I don't need all this other stuff. So all that I have right now are some overalls. I missed the middle pig. I just want to stitch that. I find myself stitching a bunch of pig stuff because I like pigs or whatever, but a bunch of pig baby stuff. I'm hoping that maybe one day a future grandchild will have a pig theme and they'll use all these pig things. My oldest whip, this is my oldest whip. It is Guitar Landscape. You know, it's just the blues, black, and gray. I think it's really cool. I love the subtlety of it. Yeah, not stitched on this a while either. I enjoy stitching on it, but it's pretty tedious getting down into the weeds of, I guess this is actually it's all the stitching is pretty much confetti when you get into the trees to get that effect. So it's slow stitching, but I love it, and I will get it done. Just a matter of when. Hopefully while I still have eyesight. This is a Cross Stitch magazine Halloween. Yeah, just Cross Stitch Halloween 2022. And the skull. I love this sugar skull, and I knew that when I saw it I wanted to stitch it, but I really didn't start it until last year. I thought I just got it on a whim, I think last October, and started stitching it. Really didn't get all that far. So I have one eye done, but I'm doing it on blue. They stitched it on white, but I wanted a bigger contrast. So there's that. And the next one is this Baby Alphabet by Leisure Arts. This is one that I stitched this many years ago, like in the 80s. I stitched it for my babies, and we had it hanging on the wall, and I passed it on to a family member who then later sold it at a garage sale when I asked her to give it back. But anyway, these things happen. So I don't know, I just like it. I like how the little motifs in there kind of stick out. I don't know, they're simple motifs, but I think they're really effective. So this is where we are. Again, this is, I don't know what for, future grandbaby or whatever. So I have a lot of the back stitching done in the letters that I have completed, but it's not all done. But I like it. This is a really close to finish whip. This is Whale by Rovaris. And this came with a little charm, a sailboat and a whale tail. So the pattern came with that. I'll put it on there. And look how close I am. I'm very close to being done. I have the seagull's beak, the rest of the wave, and the rest of the whale. And over here, you will notice I misjudged my spacing. And so I'm really close to the edge. So this is just gonna be, you know, this will be sewn into a little wall hanging or little pillow. I probably won't do a little pillow. I like pillows, but the small pillows I find I don't know, you know, the little ornamental pillows, I don't really find I know what to do with those. I don't have a lot of space to put them on. So it'll probably be a little hanging number. I like the simplicity of it. And then this is my final counter cross stitch whip, and it is my second to the oldest. This is Moons Out, Brooms Out by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I love this, and a family member really squealed and loved it when they saw it, so they said, "Grandma, will you sew it?" And I said, "Sure." But I didn't realize that stitching on a dark fabric was going to be as challenging as it is. So that's what I have done. It's pretty good progress. Trying to get the moon shape and the little witchy gal. But that's a special one. I have to be in a special place in my mind as well as with lighting just to be able to see stitching on the dark. So those are my whips. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I guess that's all. We can't really count this as a whip. I guess 9 would be the welcome. Here's the welcome. So I have 9 whips, works in progress, that need some counter cross stitch. And then I have oodles of things that are stitched and need to be fully finished. So that is my counter cross stitch segment of our first video. I keep my projects in, I make bags. And this is the bag that the 3 Little Pigs lives in. There's some Tula Pink. And this on the front, I use silkscreen fabric instead of the vinyl. You know, as we all know, the vinyl can get a little tricky with heat and humidity. So I just use silk screening fabric. That way I can see what's in the bag, and it's breathable. I did this little thing also with the silk screen stuff. So just a little pouch, got my scissors and my thread for my strawberry mouse. So I stitched that up. I make other little bags, but we won't go there. That's a long subject. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, it's a weird time right now. Joann's closed, no Michael bought it, we don't know. The other big news and sad news was that Donna Jordan passed away. Quilters, I'm sure, know who she is. She really inspired me when the pandemic was going on and we were in lockdown. She really inspired me to start taking on bigger quilting projects. I've done quilting projects through the years, but always stayed pretty small. So one of the early ones I did during COVID was this one that she has a tutorial on called Tea Time, and it's using 2.5-inch strips, jelly roll. It's a great starter quilt because you don't have to cut anything to start. You just start sewing and then, you know, work out the cutting later. So I made this back during the pandemic and ended up giving it away. It had a seashore theme and it had turtle border. I'll insert a picture. But when I heard that she passed away, I just wanted to do something for my own and kind of acknowledgement of a life well lived. And so I'm getting all emotional. I took the pattern and I made a new one. And this one I think I'll keep, but the same idea of like coastal colors. This fabric is called Tidal Pool. And yeah, I just followed her tutorial, the pattern, and made that just kind of to commemorate her. She had a great contribution to the quilting world, and yeah, she lived here in Oregon. So there's that. I finished that recently. I have the other things that are big on my, closest on my quilting table are this one. I try to get everything out of the bag so that you think. This one, suitcases. A friend gifted me this pattern and some fabric. So I have this pattern and Missouri Star fabric, Missouri Star Quilt Company fabric and stuff. So I have all 3 rows of the quilting done, or I mean of the tops done. I just need to sew the sashing between. So that's something I hope to get done soon. The other very close project is, these are some a Barontex banner that I got from Fat Quarter Shop, and just a bunch of these. I put a border around them because I had these Missouri Star quilt blocks. Most of them were done. I had to finish up a few. So I want to marry the two, these with these, and come up with something. The colors are perfect together. It's as if they were designed to be together. I just love it. So that's something I hope to put together. I do a lot of holiday quilts and projects. 4th of July, Independence Day, Halloween, a lot of Christmas. I have a lot of Christmas quilts. I like Christmas quilts and Christmas projects. The other quilting project that I'm working on is this. And I just saw today that Riley Blake has a tulip table runner kit that is just released. So this is called Paper Tulips from apples and beavers. It makes me think they are from Oregon. I don't know. I am in the Pacific Northwest, so transplant from Missouri, Midwest. So this is a pattern. Tulips are my favorite flower, so I love this pattern when I saw it a few weeks ago. Got home and then learned that the tulip part are actually paper pieced. Well, I don't like paper piecing. You know, Godspeed if you like paper piecing. I do not. So I ended up creating the pattern, using it to create a pieced pattern for the block, which, you know, all these pieces are on the bias, so you know, I had to be careful with not overworking them so they didn't stretch out. But so we made that. Again, I have the rows all quilted. Like, how cute is that? Oh my gosh. The rows are all done. And I've just got to put the sashing between the rows and then put a border around. I do some machine quilting on my own little machine. I have a Janome under here with stitch. This is a machine cover I made. I got this stitch panel from a place called Itchin' to Stitch, I think. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but I think it's Itchin' to Stitch. Anyway, so put the border on and so all that. I'm gonna try to quilt this on my own machine. It's small enough. I don't like wrestling the bigger things. But here's an example. I know sometimes people say, oh, we don't want to point out our mistakes on camera and blah, blah, blah. But I think it's learning, you know, it's about giving grace. So if we notice, this flower here is different. The leaves are different than this flower, this leaf, okay? This one is how the pattern was written, okay? In my tulips, with my tulips, it's the only one that's this way. I did them all this way. But how many of them am I going to change? 0. It's going to stay exactly like that. And I'm cool with that. I personalized it. Speaking of patriotic stuff, I want to do some patriotic things this July, do that with the channel. And this is a pattern from many, many moons ago, from American Spirit. It almost has a prairie schooler vibe. They're still around, I saw. I bought this on the secondary market. I stitched this Uncle Sam many, many years ago, and I have it framed. 1989 is the date. I stitched my nickname and the year that I completed it. That's how I sign mine. It just makes me feel better to use my nickname rather than seeing all Sandra, Sandra, Sandra all over everything. So I stitched that, but what I want to do, this is a counted cross stitch piece. It is a replica of a Civil War quilt pattern. So back in the day, in 1989, when I stitched that, I actually converted this cross stitch pattern into a quilt top, into a pillow top. You know, through the years, I don't have it any longer, but I want to redo that. So I'm hoping that this July, I'm going to recreate that pattern into a pillow top, quilt it, and I will share the pattern with the channel for free. It's one of those, can I do this? So that is the challenge during July, all my other things. Next up, so a couple years ago, Pat Sloan was doing the sew along with her Australian friend, whose name I forget, for the Tulip Pink butterfly quilt. So when that was going on, I got all my units put together. All the units were put together, and then I just had to put it away. I couldn't work on it anymore, so I put it away, and there it stayed for 2 years, just till recently. So my goal is that I can't take on another big project until this is done. So I'm very, very close. There are 9 sections of all the pieces to put together, and I think I have 6 done. So I had to order in a little bit more of this minty color. I got it in, so now I have no excuses. I did it just like the pattern. You know, I bought this kit actually at a Fat Quarter Shop near the end, or somewhere last 2022, there was a sale on the kit, and it was like $169, which I know was a very good deal on that. So I hadn't planned to really do it. I already had the pattern that I was just going to keep as a commemorative because it's just such an iconic thing. It's tulip pink, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if any of you all do that, where you buy a pattern knowing or thinking that you'll never stitch it and just to hold on to the pattern. Anyway, I saw the fabric kit was on sale at Quarter Shop, so I bought it. I did it all like the pattern with the exception of the body. So for my caterpillar body, I used this black with a little rainbow in it. And I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. So I think that it will. So that is I got to get that done before I move on to this other project that I'm really excited about. And I got some fabric at my doorstep this morning too, which I'll show that. I will call that a haul. But so a friend asked me to make a jacket for them, and I'll insert a picture of their inspiration. They said, can you make me a jacket that looks kind of like this? Because of the creativity involved in it, I fell in love and I want to do it. So I am going to use New Look in 6724 as the base that I will hack and turn into basically what she has described, like an oversized denim shirt. And then I'm going to ornament it up and put on 3D pockets and whatever. So the fabric that I'm going to use is this olive kind of denim weight. It's kind of almost like a brush on top. It's really soft. And then that. Okay, and the colors, I'm going to embroider on the pockets. One of the designs I have worked with, I'm tinkering with, is something like this on the pockets. Yeah, well, this would be one pocket. I think I'll do different illustrations on each pocket, but there's that. And these are the colors that I just kind of went a little bit crazy picking for that. I wanted to do some shading, so I've got different shades of things. Let me see, how can we do this? Like this maybe? So this is my color scheme that I want to use. Oopsies, dropped one. For the pocket. You get the different greens, the different browns, shading. Yeah, you can see it's DMC. I don't know, is that blurry? If that's blurry, I'm sorry. And then this, I have this variegated that I want to do a snail and do the coil on the snail. Many, many years ago as a t-shirt, I did some embroidery on some jeans and I did a snail with variegated thread and I just loved how it looked. So I'm gonna use this variegated thread to do the spiral on the snail's body. And I think it would look pretty cool. DMC 4516. And then I have this snail fabric I saw the other day and picked up, and I want to incorporate that in the jacket, either like on the underside of the collar or inside the pockets or the cuffs or something, I don't know. So I look forward to that challenge, but I'm trying to discipline myself. Not that discipline is my strength, but I'm trying to discipline myself to get the tulip pink butterfly quilt done before I take on another big project. And there's that. Hopefully, I will. I'm going to just finish tulip pink in the next week or so, and then I can move on to this other. So that is my whip parade for my little sewing projects. Feel free to ask any questions. I started embroidery as we did it as a project in Girl Scouts way back in the day. My grandmother and my aunt were very much into crafting and embroidery, and she would give us some of her embroidery thread wrapped around a piece of cardboard that I kept for many years. I joined the Army as a young woman. I'm embroidering one night on Fire Guard, and I had my little box. It was in a box that had assorted greeting cards. So I had my embroidery floss in there, and it's wrapped around this little piece of cardboard. Well, somebody picks it up and is looking, and the cardboard that my grandmother had given me, she'd wrapped the floss around was like for Vagisil or something. So it was after that that I just decided to buy my own thread and get rid of the thread that she'd give me. It was very sweet. You know, she just used whatever she had. I may edit that out, I don't know. Anywho, so started embroidering then. Counted cross stitch was something I learned while I was in the Army. I wanted to do some ornaments. We were on a field exercise and I brought some ornaments to stitch to learn. And one of the NCOs that was there, non-commissioned officer females that was there, she was a huge cross stitcher. So she taught me how to cross stitch while we were out in the field in a very hot summer in Texas. And then when I got out of the military, the first job that I got was actually working at a craft store in Missouri. And I had a small baby at the time, so I would work Wednesday nights and Saturdays, and or Sundays, whatever it was, Wednesday night and Saturdays. And one of the other things I did for the store was stitch some models. I did stitch some models for the store, and then I did finish work for the store. So if somebody wanted a pillow, wanted their kind of cross stitch pieces, like what I do, where is it? They wanted one of their, well, whatever. They wanted one of their counter cross stitch pieces sewn into a pillow or a stocking or whatever it was. They would, I would put it on there. I would charge the store would reimburse, pay me and reimburse me for any supplies that I got. So I did finish work for everything from needlepoint to latch hook rugs, counted cross stitch, you name it. So I did that, and always have had something going, whether it's counted cross stitch, quilting, embroidery. I have to be doing, like many of you out there, I'm sure. So yeah, it's my therapy. Most definitely it is my therapy. So that's what Thread had said today. Thank you for watching. I hope you made it this far. You can feel free to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, all of those YouTube-y things. As I said, I had a channel previously called Sandra's Pins and or it's called Pins and Needles, and I just made it too complicated. So my goal for this channel is to not make it complicated, which might be hard for me. You would think that simplifying would be easy. It's simple, but anyway, my brain just wants to get mired in the details, and so I'm going to try not to do that and make this fun and interactive. And yeah, here you go. I see in my shirt, I have my shirt called Don't Let the Hard Days Win. This is from the Till Valhalla project, which is for veterans. If you want to look that up, it's something I support. Just happen to see it. Anyway, all right. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Oh, the fabric haul. We want to do that if you care. So I ordered this from Fat Quarter Shop. They had this Three Little Pigs book. I gotta have the Three Little Pig book. This little piggy, not Three Little Pigs, excuse me. This little piggy book, and then it's a turn the page, but it has the ears sticking out on the last page. So I got that, and then I got some more Tim Holt fabric. I like Tim Holt. He's gone out of, I like to watch his videos, even though I don't really use a lot of his products, the stamping and all those things. I just love the creativity, and I would sit there and turn on his videos, his live streams, and just listen to the talk and see the projects. But I like his fabric. It's very unique, but I needed some green. So I got this green with all the alphabet on it. I can use this for, I might actually use this for binding, cut on the bias for stockings. That could be kind of cool for some of the stockings that I do. And then the other green was these stamps. I don't know why. I have no specific project in mind to do it. I just like it. But I'm wondering, like, wherever the mouse, I'm making a mess here. Wherever the mouse Valentine ones, it needs a little bit more border around it, and I have the Tim Holt pink in there, and it's got that cool green. It's got these tones of greens, and since these are postage stamps and we send Valentines by the mail, in the mail with postage stamps, or we used to, now we email them. Anyway, I was thinking about maybe using some of this to incorporate into that piece. I don't know, we shall see. All right, again, thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely day, and deuces.